Well, obviously last year was, record-wise was not what we wanted. But I was proud of our players. They hung in there, they battled, and I'm looking forward to this season. We've had a chance to see the Big 12, experience all the teams, get a feel for the football that's here, the great football that's played, and I look forward to us, being a much better team this fall. Well, I think last year, we had some injuries, so we just kind of said, hey, we're gonna focus on what our players do well, and I think it's the same thing this year. I believe if you want to win games down the stretch, if you want to be a college football playoff team, if you want to be a championship team, you have to be able to line up and run the ball and slow the game down at times. But we're not there yet. So we're going to take advantage of our players. We'll be spread out. We'll find a way to get the ball in our best players' hands. And to me it's always about what's best for our players, not necessarily what I could do if I was on Madden and drawing up my own team. So. Yeah, I've been really pleased with the people that we signed. I thought we played a ton of the freshmen that we signed last year, and we were able to come up with a pretty well thought of class this year. And really they're our kind of guys. The way we want to play. They're fast, they're explosive, they're we've signed a ton of guys on the offensive and defensive lines because those were areas that had just been sort of depleted a little bit with everything that happened. So I think we've been able to fix some issues, make sure that we have the proper depth, but at the same time go out and find our kind of guys that want to play the style that we want to play. And so I've been pleased. There's so many great players in this area, so many great players in the state of Texas that it's just about finding the right ones for you. Well, he's a special talent, and I think people see the things that he did at Tennessee as a tailback. I don't know if there was a better player in the SEC. He was pretty close, I think, to being their all-time leading rusher. And so, I think what I see is a guy that's going to be able to do that, out wide, out on the perimeter. He's going to be, I think, a matchup issue for corners. I think he's a guy underneath that can catch the ball, can be physical. But then his run after catch, I think, is hopefully going to be pretty elite. So I think he's a guy we want to feature. We have Denzel Mims, who was all Big 12 last year. Chris Platt, who even after getting hurt, after 3.5 games, still led the country and plays over 70 yards. So we have some explosive guys on the outside, and I think Jalen can be a real threat on the inside. Yeah, so Derek played for me at Temple, and at 6'4", 190 pounds, he's a 43-inch vertical. He's a 4.3. He's just a terrific athlete, and so he wanted to come back and play in the system that he had grown up in, and I think he's a guy that hopefully will play well and be a high draft pick. We have a lot of expectations, a lot of history with him, and Jalen McClendon. One of the issues coming in was we came in, we had one scholarship quarterback after the season, so signed Gary Bohannon out of Earl, Arkansas, who we think is going to be a great player, and then Jalen came to us as a grad transfer. So Charlie Brewer, who finished the year for us last year, Gary as a freshman, and now Jalen, who has some experience, hopefully shores up our quarterback position. Well, he's a quarterback through and through, and he's I don't know what they call it, but it's just that it, and he has it. He loves the game. The moments are never too big. He can get coached. And I think the biggest thing that he's done is he's gotten himself bigger. He's gotten himself stronger. He's going to be able to hopefully take on the beating that the Big 12 will bring. And so I look forward to him having a great season. Sometimes when you play off of instinct your freshman year, that sophomore year, you can have a little bit of a dip. And so we've worked hard with him, and he's worked hard to make sure that he continues to play with that thing that makes him special, and that's his gut, while at the same time making sure he runs the system and makes great decisions. Yeah, Jake went through some things there and left the program, and was a highly recruited kid from Florida, was going to go to Florida. And Doug Marone, the head coach of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and Jake's dad are good friends, and he said if you're going to go anywhere, you should go to Baylor and play for George DeLeon, the offensive line coach there. So Jake came in, he redshirted last year, and I expect him to be a really good player in the Big 12, an outstanding offensive tackle. And Christian Beard's a local kid, went some different places, and he came back and walked on and sat out for us last year. So, two transfer guys that we hope can either give us depth or be quality starters for us as we move forward. Yeah, I was a big fan of Zach Smith, and he's got an NFL arm. He's got an NFL talent. I think he set the record against Oklahoma this past year for passing yards for Baylor University. And I have tremendous respect for Philip Montgomery. I consider him a friend. He's a great football coach, and I think once he's eligible in that that system, I think he'll do fantastic things. He when I say he has an NFL arm, he has an elite NFL arm, and he's tough, physical. I put him in a single digits halfway through last year. Will stand in there when he needs to, and his comfort with Philip and in that system, I think he'll do great things for Coach Montgomery, in a year from now.